So guys, this is going to be approximately 25 to 30 hours of course. So initially for 5 days, we are putting this session as a workshop. So initially you guys can enroll for workshop that is in 999, and later on based on your experience or based on your interest, you can go ahead and you can continue the entire course. So this is going to be on Saturday, Sunday, like a weekend, morning 10 a.m.
Yeah, sorry for the delay, team. Hi everyone. Hi Manisha. Hi Ramesh. Hi Sagar. Hi Sagarji. So my name is Deepak. I'll be the trainer for this particular course. So I'll be helping you through all the concepts, the brief introductions for the Zscaler Internet Security as well as Zscaler Private Access. So that can help your career and that can help you in future in order to understand about the Zscaler as well as how you can implement the Zscaler into the environment. So for that, I'll be sharing my screen. Just confirm once you are able to see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, great. So basically, as said, the agenda of today's particular call is to have an introduction. We'll be talking briefly about the ZIA on the larger on the high level overview. We'll be looking into it, and we will be also looking into the career guidance and as well as like how Zscaler can benefit your careers. So coming to the introduction, my name is Deepak Saxena. So I am 6 years experience in network security domain. So I have experience in working with major vendors like Palo Alto Networks, Checkpoint, and as well as Zscaler. So currently, uh, so I have worked with all three vendors. I have worked on next generation firewalls technologies. I have worked on your SASE technologies, which is in right now, which is in boom. Everyone is looking for SASE engineers. So, like coming to these, so I'm working as a SASE engineer as of now as well. So, yeah. So that's a very benefit tool. All you like all of you know that Zscaler is currently a market leader if it comes under the SASE environment. So there are two market leaders which we can have. It's like one is Palo Alto Networks and one is Zscaler.
Hello.
Yeah,
What is SASE engineer means?
I'll be going through it. So SASE is basically secure access service edges. So like I'll be going through that particular architecture in a moment. So yeah. Before that, I'll be just requesting everyone. So if you all of you can just introduce yourself so we can start further.
And Deepak, there are some people who's asking, what is a prerequisite for this course? What knowledge they need to carry before joining this course?
Sure, we'll be discussing everything. Let's start with the introduction first.
Hello. My name is Ramesh.
Hi Ramesh, how are you?
I have a total 4 years of network engineering experience. I'm working as now monitoring of the network equipment configuration. I don't have in-depth knowledge on the security and all. I have an overview of the networking. So would like to know more about the network security. That's the reason I would like to join this.
Great.
Hello everyone. My name is Sagar Jit. At last, I have a 3.5 years experience in networking, and recently I joined as a network security in Infosys, and I'm working on Palo Alto Firewall, Checkpoint Firewall, and F5 devices.
Welcome everyone. So yeah. Next one.
Hello everyone, my name is Manisha. I have 6 years of experience in networking. I'm working on enterprise network and security. So Zscaler recently came into our network. So that's why I wanted to know more about it.
Okay.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Sagar. Currently, I am working in Reliance Jio, and I am into planning and deployment team. So my profile is like deployment of SD-WAN and SASE, like Versa, Umbrella, Netscope, and Zscaler also.
Okay. So are you familiar about Zscaler?
Yes, I am familiar, but not in deep depth.
Okay. Is anyone left out there? Or we have Sagar, Manisha, Ramesh, Pal, Kiran. Okay. Is anyone left for introduction, or we are good to start?
We can start now, like all introduced.
Okay. So first of all, coming to the prerequisites that is required for this particular course. So ZIA, basically Zscaler Internet Access, when we are studying about this Zscaler, that is a SASE solution, Secure Access Service Edges. Basically, it's nothing, it's just like your everything is being moving on the cloud. So now, in order to go through this particular course, you should be familiar with some prerequisite technologies. Like you should be aware of networking, how networking works, like how basic networking protocols works, like ICMP, TCP, HTTP, DNS. Apart from that, you should be also looking into how how networking works. Apart from that, you should be also looking into how your protocol works, like IPsec, VPN, GRE tunnels, or basic protocol, or the basic networking knowledge you should be aware of before starting this particular course. Now, coming to the zero trust network architecture, but before that, we will understand about the proxy, like how and what the particular proxy is. So basically, proxy is any device that separates the end user from the website they are accessing. So let's say there is any user who is trying to access google.com. So what proxy will do, proxy will sit in between, and whenever any traffic will be coming through that particular proxy, it will be inspecting all the traffic before handing over to the Google servers. And whenever the Google will be responding for that particular traffic, they will be also having inspected on that particular proxy servers.
Hello.
Hello, yeah.
Hello, Deepak. Could you please repeat this one? Proxy.
The proxy part.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So basically, proxy server is nothing. It's a device that can sit between you and your internet. So anything that you will be accessing on a public network, basically internet or anything, that will be inspected in between.
Okay.
So that's the user. So whenever you will be initiating any traffic that is going to the public network, or anything like that, like you are accessing your SaaS applications, your public networks, or any internet websites, that particular proxy will be inspecting that. And meanwhile, all the traffic will be inspected by that particular proxy server in between. So anything that you will be trying accessing based on the policies or the security policies that has been set by your organization, all your traffic will be inspected, and based on that, it will be allowed further. So what it does, it improves your security and privacy because it is sitting in between and it is inspecting each and every traffic. So each and every traffic is being inspected and it can see what traffic is going. So on the basis of if the traffic is not good traffic, it's a malicious traffic, it can deny that particular traffic based on the rules that you configure. You can filters the web content type. So again, like you can configure some rules to block some web filtering. For example, you can block some certain categories of URL, or you can block certain categories of cloud applications. You can have more granular control. For example, like DLP part, you want to enforce something on that on your data. So you do not want certain data types to be exfiltrated from your network. So you can configure those particular policies. So any traffic that will be going through that proxy based on the configuration, it will be like inspecting that. It also helps you balancing your traffic load. So whenever like you onboard a proxy in your network or anything like that, whenever that particular traffic will be going out, it will be always be going out through proxy, and it will be netted through the proxy itself. Coming to the proxy types. So basically we have 4 proxy. Go ahead.
So Zscaler works as VPN also and proxy server also?
So Zscaler doesn't works as a proxy and as well as VPN. But in order to understand about Zscaler, we need to understand the proxy servers and the zero trust network architecture. Because when we say like Zscaler works as a VPN, it's a wrong statement, because VPN are the legacy technologies and are prone to attacks. I will show you how, and I will like show you what's the purpose of using this zero trust network architecture, which does not uses it uses the technologies of the VPN, but it is not a legacy VPN that you are configuring. For example, for Global Protect, you are configuring, or you are configuring Cisco AnyConnect. So these are not like that particular VPN. They work differently.
Okay.
Hello, Deepak.
And like if anyone have implemented Zscaler in the environment, so the user connects to the Zscaler application. So that is not a type of VPN then?
No, that is not a VPN. Like you can think like for an end user, it is kind of a VPN, but it's not working like a VPN in the backend.
Okay.
Yeah, there are different things that
Different from
work
Ivanti
together.
and Cisco AnyConnect.
Yeah, Cisco AnyConnect is directly making a TLS communication or IPsec communication towards your gateways that you configure. So I'll coming to this particular topic. Then you will get a clear picture of it. So
Hello,
coming to
Deepak.
I'm sorry.
Hello, Deepak. Is a Zscaler like a firewall FTD?
No. It's a secure web gateway. So Zscaler have 2 products in place. So first is your ZIA, Zscaler Internet Security, and another one is your ZPA, Zscaler Private Access. So ZIA, Zscaler Internet Access, is basically a secure web gateway which protects only your web traffic. So any traffic that is going to the public network or your SaaS applications, that is being protected by that. Coming to the another part, that is ZPA. So that is Zscaler Private Access, which protects the access to your internal applications based on where those particular applications are residing. So now the applications can be reside in your SaaS in your cloud environments, or it can be residing on your data centers. How they will be they are different from the VPN. I'll discuss just right after this particular call, so you will get a more picture of it.
Hello, Deepak.
Yeah. Hello.
Cisco umbrella. Zscaler is Cisco umbrella.
Cisco umbrella is a kind of proxy. You can link or relate Zscaler internet access with Cisco umbrella a little bit. But apart from Cisco umbrella, Zscaler provides you a lot of functionalities which Cisco umbrella cannot.
Okay.
Coming
Hello?
to the yeah.
Hi. Yeah, what is the difference between the forward proxy and anonymous proxy?
Coming.
Okay.
Anonymous proxy is nothing. It's like whenever you try to access anything from the proxy, it hides your actual IP address from where you are coming. So for example, let's say there is an proxy server in middle, and the client is coming from, let's say, 1.1.1.1 public network. And whenever it is coming to the proxy will mask that IP address of that particular user. So whenever it will be forwarded to the web, and if web server will look like they will be always be seeing that the traffic is coming from the proxy server, not from the end user. So it protects the visibility of the net, like internal user or the users who is trying to access that particular browser or the web browser websites from the web. So they will not be able to know from what actual IP the client is coming from. They will be always able to know that this is coming from a specific proxy IP addresses. So that's the anonymous. Coming to the forward proxy. So forward proxy is basically most of us users. So most of us uses forward proxy or reverse proxy in our networks. So forward proxy is to protect all your traffic which is going outbound to the internet. So whenever, like when client is initiating any traffic from inside of your network to outside the internet, then we use the forward proxy. So it protects all your traffic which is coming from inside of your network, of your organization network, or you're working remotely, and it is coming to the proxy and it is going to the internet. So in the proxy, it is getting inspected. Now coming to the reverse proxy, some organization do also have servers or like their internal servers or the public facing servers. For example, if I take example of Netflix, so you access Netflix. So you are, whenever we are accessing Netflix, we are accessing Netflix servers in the backend. So in order to protect these, like you cannot create firewall rules to just allow or block specific IP addresses, because on web anyone can access Netflix. So anyone can come to your network. Now how you can protect it? So for that, reverse proxies comes into play, which provides protection as well as load balancing. So whenever any user coming from outside to your internal server, your proxy act as an internal server for that particular user. So if I am accessing Netflix, might be there is some proxy device or some secure web gateway they will be having. For them, I will be for me, I am accessing that thing, and for them, it is their internal server which is being accessed, but we do not know what particular internal server where it is. So proxy is working there. So that is your reverse proxy. Now sometimes there are possibilities you cannot put proxies in between due to some client side configurations or due to some heavy configuration or network changes that you have to do. So transparent proxies works in that particular conditions. So it does not require any client side configuration, and it can be used for like content filtering without changing anything on your network or without making any modifications on your network in existing network. Now, coming to the zero trust network architecture, I'll come to your question. So basically, Sagar, difference between Palo Alto Networks and Zscaler, it's nothing. Both are different vendors. Both are working on a same category. And if I say like about, so both are working on a same concept, zero trust network architecture. They are both are SASE vendors. Although Palo Alto also have their next generation firewalls and everything. But apart from that, if you think about Prisma Access and ZIA, Zscaler, they are pretty much similar to each other, but there are some things that works differently between both. So it's not, we can say they are identical, but yes, like they both offer SASE solutions. So the your security solutions on the cloud, and as well as the concepts little bit are different from what Palo Alto uses and what Zscaler uses. So coming to the zero trust network architecture and why we have to come into this place or why we have to use the SASE application. So let me share a whiteboard that will be more explainable to you. Sharing my screen. So now coming to the zero trust network architecture and how they are different from VPN and why we do not recommend to use VPN anymore, just for your enhanced security, because VPN are not secure anymore. It was a time that the VPN was secure initially. So coming to the so when we are understanding about Zscaler internet access or Zscaler private access, it is important to understand why we require it, why there is a need of Zscaler, or why we use Zscaler, because right now our legacy firewalls are there. We are working on them. So now, like what is happening, basically, if you see nowadays, so initially, what used to happen, like you used to have data centers, then you used to have your branch offices. Users are working from branch offices, and there will be very few users who will be working from remotely. So there were very few users initially pre-COVID area, like they used to work remotely. Mostly, there was a culture of working from office. So how it was deployed, and generally, like most organization cannot have heavy or expensive security devices like your web, your IDS, IPS, all these things on every branch offices, or they cannot have much, like if they can have like next generation firewalls as well, they cannot have high end series on the branch offices. Only data center was equipped for great of like for of security. So what they have to do is they deploy VPN gateways here. So there will be like a site to site connectivity from each side to those particular gateways. And also remote users also connects to that particular gateway. So that was how the legacy network was. And also, like whenever any user has to access anything inside the network, they have to come through the data, like they have to connect to the VPN, their traffic will be coming to the gateway, and from gateway, they will be going to the internal network. And whenever they have to try or access anything on the internet as well, for better security, for good control, again, the traffic needs to be forwarded to your VPN. And from VPN, it will be inspected, and based on if the traffic is being allowed, that goes to the internet. Now, for internet security, for accessing your internal applications and for accessing your data center, for accessing internet as well, you have to come to your gateway addresses where your VPN is configured. Without that, you cannot access anything securely, whether it's your internal network or internet. Now, let's say right now these users are working near to your data centers. So you will not face much latency or much experience issues for the user. But now what is happening? So basically, so all these now after COVID, when COVID hits, these branch offices were not working anymore. People are not working from the branch offices. More and more users were on remote. And also, you cannot also control basically that from where the users will be connecting. So if we take example of India as well, like some are working from South India, some are working from North India, some are working from somewhere else. So if you have a specific data center and you are routing all the traffic to data center for internet or your internal access, that will be like not convenient for your end users. They can face latency, they can face issues with that. Now, another thing with the VPN is that it exposes your network surfaces. So basically, if you provision any VPN gateway, it will be coming with a public IP address. For example, 1.1. User use that public IP address, connects to it, and forwards all the traffic. So now attackers can know that this is the IP address that is running for your organization. It can try accessing this IP addresses. It can do vulnerability assessment on this IP address and will be able to know what particular vendor it is running, what particular type of VPN it is running, and what vulnerability that kind of VPN it's having. So nowadays we see that there are a lot of vulnerabilities coming. So if you know about Pulse Secure, there was a vulnerability coming. So US government said that Pulse Secure needs to be stopped from their network from further on. So that's network surfaces. Whenever they are visible to your attackers, it is dangerous. They can do a vulnerability assessment on that. They can understand what particular network, what particular IP, where it is there, or what particular vendor it is running. And based on that, they can find any vulnerability which can harm your network. And also, when you allow VPN or when you configure VPN, you are allowing network to your users. So when you configure VPN, you allow access to your network. For example, your internal network, like any users from VPN can access 10.0.0.8 or anything like that. Either though, you can configure the policies based on that. But again, let's say in future, this particular user has allowed access to your internal network through VPN. And in future, if the VPN credentials or anything gets exposed of this particular user, an attacker is coming through this particular user, it can expose all your network. What it will do, he will use the credentials, he will connect to your VPN, go there. As there is a complete access to the network, he knows the network that it is running 10.0.0.0. What it will do, it will try to do a lateral movement on your network. First, it will be trying accessing the machines that this particular user has access to. And from there, it will be trying accessing all other machines as well, or it can do vulnerability scan as well. It's because it knows your internal network as well. It's been exposed to the internal user. So these two things, network surfaces and your lateral movement, are the biggest challenge of current VPN technologies. They exposes your network surfaces. They expose you to have users doing lateral movement in your network, which can harm your complete network, which can bring it down in moments. Now, zero trust architecture comes into place to solve these particular problems. The first problem that we will be having with the legacy VPN is that we have to fix gateways, VPN gateways, and they will be having fixed locations. Where we can provision our VPN gateways. The second issue that we were having with the current legacy technologies was, so the current second issue that we were having with the current technologies were network surface. Another third technology that we were having, issue was having, was lateral movement. Now, how Zscaler solve all these particular issues? Coming to the fixed gateway location and fixed location. So Zscaler has more than 150 data centers all across over the world. Where there are our security edges are being located on the cloud. So when we talk about 150 data centers, these are ZIA public service edges on which your inspection of the traffic happens. Now, if user is connecting from India, like let's say if it is connecting from North India, they will be connecting to their nearest data centers in order to forward any traffic to internet for ZIA. So if user is connecting from North India, they will be connecting to Delhi. Like if users is connecting from West or South India, they will be connecting to Mumbai based on the geo proximity or and the locations between their locations of the user and the edges. So whatever the edges that will be having minimum latency or minimum round trip time for the traffic, that user connects to that edge. So you do not have to define the gateways here. So you are not defining your public IP addresses for your particular user. Users or your organizations are there. Remote users are working from here. They are connecting to these public ZIA public service edges. We will talk about how they connect, how what a Zscaler they use Zscaler client connector in order to connect to it, how you configure it, what are the forwarding methods. We will discuss about it later. Just understand it in a high level view. So whenever users are connecting to ZIA public services, they are connecting to their nearest ZIA public services. Now, so you have no limitation of fixed VPN gateways or fixed location. If user, let's say in future, if this particular user is moving to US as well for work purpose or anything, then he will be connecting to the US gateways. So for that, like organization do not have to manage the VPN gateways and every place. So if you have like offices across the globe, you do not have to configure the VPN or configure the securities or the firewalls in each office. You can just simply have ZIA and ZIA will be taking care of everything. Whenever your user are moving to any other region as well, it will be connecting to their ZIA public services, the nearest one. So they can access the public network securely.
And the user don't require any static IP also for that.
Yes. So that's the benefit when we are coming to the network surface. Now, Zscaler uses lot of IP addresses for their public service edges and they are not fixed. They can be changed any moment of time. For this particular user, they do not require any specific IP addresses of these edges to connect. They will be automatically routed to whatever the nearest edges they will be having. And Zscaler has a protection here. It manages by its own. So it does not allow that IP addresses to be reused or like you cannot have same IP addresses. For example, right now, if it is 165.0.0.0.1, for example, it possibility it can be like 0.0.1.2 or from any different networks. They have subnets of networks that they have taken for this particular solution. So it can be changed any moment of time. So when it comes to network surface, now attacker do not have that visibility into your network. They are not knowing. So if users are working from a branch offices as well, from your branch offices, let's say user are coming from here and you have public IP of 100.4.1.1. They will be connecting to edge as we discussed that proxy mask your IP addresses. So all your traffic will be looking that it is coming from the edges. And these IP are not fixed, variable IP addresses that can be changed any moment of time. So whenever attacker will be trying to see from what particular IP user addresses the users are coming and so he can start attacking or he can start scanning your network, do vulnerability assessment, he will not be able to do. So it solves the network surface problem as well. So we are limiting the network surfaces or we are not giving any network surfaces to your attackers or to outside world. They are completely anonymous on what particular network you are listening, on what particular network you are coming from. It just traffic is coming from Zscaler every time. Coming to the lateral movement. So Zscaler works on few principles. It can never allow a user which is not authenticated. So Zscaler, whether it's ZIA or ZPA, they keep on continuously check whether the user which is coming or initiating any particular traffic, it's being authenticated or not. If it is not authenticated, it forces that particular users to authenticate into it. So in zero trust network architecture, proving the identity continuously is the one of the biggest important thing. So we are proving the users. For example, let's say I am coming. So how the firewall or how the Zscaler will be knowing that I am coming? It will be only knowing that once I will be authenticating to my identity provider, I will be acquiring that authentication token from them. And based on that, I am proving that, yes, I am Deepak and I am accessing the things from right now. Now, what is things being configured for Deepak to access? He will be only able to access it. Coming to lateral movement. Initially, what we used to happen, like you allow networks on the VPN. Basically, you do when you do routing or anything like that, or policy-based VPN as well, you configure interesting traffic and you configure complete network as an interesting traffic. So that VPN can be used for these complete network. Even though you can create a firewall rules on your network, but if users can provide or users can infiltrate your anyone credentials, they can simply bypass the firewall rules. And once they are in your network, they can start checking like what other networks or what the other critical devices they can attack. When we use ZPA, so lateral movement comes into the Zscaler private access. I'm talking high level overview. We'll be talking later as well about ZPA. So when we use ZPA, it does not allows you access to your complete network. For Deepak to access, you will be only able to access it. I'm sorry? Initially, your voice is breaking. Hello. I think Vishal, your voice is breaking. So you can just, if you have any question, you can just type it on the chat. So I can read it from them. Yeah, so I was there. So basically, let's say so you users are access to the network. Now on firewall, you can say that they are accessing 10.1, like user A can access 10.1 or user B can access 10.2, but they know your network. If user A is there and he can access it, he can try infiltrating based on any vulnerabilities inside your network and it can go through those particular networks. Tunnel is there for complete network. It's just your firewall which is doing the filtering in between. Now, when ZPA comes into the place, ZPA only allows access for the user. So if user A is there, it will never allow any access to your application. It will, sorry, to your network. It will allow access to the applications. For example, let's say if I take example of IT people, so we use RDP protocol a lot. So when we use RDP, and we used to do RDP to domain controllers to configure it, to look what is going wrong and to have security event logs as well. So in ZPA, the user is being assigned access to the application based on the applications, not complete network. And whenever user A will be trying to access your network or your applications through ZPA, they will not be able to know that your application is running on 10 network or 18 network. That network is being masked from them, unlike VPN. So when you connect from Cisco AnyConnect or when you connect to Global Protect, you still access your internal resources. You still access your internal resources based on the internal network that is configured. So you are exposing that particular complete network to your internal users as well. So when we come to zero trust network architecture, it is that we do not even trust our employees as well. It's not like there is no trust in the network. Anytime anybody has to access anything in the network, first of all, they have to prove the identity, or based on that particular identity, they are authorized to access few things, and they are unaware of on what particular network or on what particular technologies that thing is running. It will be masked from the users. We'll see how it is being masked, what happens when we access the things from the ZP. But unlike proxy, or sorry, unlike the VPNs, When you are accessing domain controller, you know that you are accessing on 10.0.0.1, or when you are accessing any other firewall portals as well, you know that you are accessing that particular portal on that particular IP address. But when you access through Zscaler, you are completely, like, end user is completely unaware of what network traffic they are accessing it. Even though if they do try to do NS lookup, or they try to find out the IP of the end applications, they will not be able to know. They will be getting an arbitrary IP address from the Zscaler side itself. So that's how Zscaler implements the zero trust network architecture. So first was your network surfaces and electron movements. So both, it uses both the products. So it uses ZIA in conjunction with ZPA to provide complete secure access to your network. Let me know if you have any questions on the zero trust network architecture, because in order to understand the Zscaler, this is a very important concept. So yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Or anything that is like your like you want me to repeat it, or anything that is there. Why we are focusing? Because unless we are understanding the difference between the current technologies and Zscaler or Prisma Access, so these we will not be able to understand, or we will not be able to make a great use of those particular technology unless we know that what these products are being actually made for. So coming to the core principles of zero trust network architecture, basically never trust, always verify. That I said. We never trust anyone, whether it's coming from the network, whether it's a CIO of the company, whether it's a CEO of the company. Whenever they have to access, or whenever anyone has to access any resources, they have to authenticate, they have to verify first. We will be providing least privilege access. So if user A requires two applications to work fine in the organization, then the user A will be only being allowed access to two applications. Apart from that, he will not be allowed to anything else. We do micro segmentations. So segmentations inside these applications belongs to certain departments. These application belongs to certain departments. And it's not like you authenticate it for the very first time. You authenticate continuously. So you are verified continuously. Whenever the traffic is even the traffic is received by the ZIA or ZPA, if the traffic is unauthenticated, the ZIA will again ask it will again initiate a user to authenticate them first before allowing anything or any access to whether internet or whether your internal applications. So important feature is that it reduces your attack surface because it keeps you hide from the public network. So attackers are not able to see from where you are coming and how you are coming. So based on that, it can try to attack you. So now coming to the improve compliance part, it also improve your compliance. So there are certain laws like GDPR or other laws. So from there, it also protects you. So it helps you not your that your data is not getting infiltrated to the outside world. You are being protected from certain websites. You are doing SSL inspection. It also improves the compliance and the safe and also safeguards your data. Now coming to the Zscaler Internet Security. So basically it's a cloud-based platform. Now, why there is an importance of using the cloud-based platforms? Because now we can say like what ZIA is doing, next generation firewall can also do. Correct? Like your next generation firewall, any firewall like Palo Alto, Fortinet, you have. So you can do URL filtering there, you can do SSL inspection there, you can do cloud filtering there, you can do firewall filtering there. Then what makes ZIA difference or Zscaler Internet Security different from that? Any guesses? Or any issues? So let's say right now there is an organization A, and currently they have 50 users. So what they do, they have some mid-range of version of a Palo Alto firewall or a particular any vendor firewall they have implemented in their network. Yes, Vishal, we can say in little bit terms, yeah, that it can be that's a grade 2 firewall. That's a secure web gateway. But let's say your company is having 50 users right now. You have a firewall, mid-range firewall running, features running. Now, mostly if you have worked with the firewall, and most important issue that you will face with the firewall is when you enable SSL inspection on that particular firewall. If you're limiting the SSL inspection just for few users or just for few destinations, it works fine. But when you increase the SSL inspection limit, it like you start facing issues, you start facing slowness in the traffic, you start face your users does not gets a good experience onto that particular part. Now, let's say the company is trying to move or like it's trying to acquire new more people. So now there was 50 people, now there are 100 people. Now you will say that like the mid-range firewall will not work for 100 people. They are not, it's not working capable, or it's not capable of handling the traffic that 100 people are being accessing throughout the day or throughout their workday. And apart from that as well, there are certain inspections that you are doing on the traffic as well, which is not causing a good experience for your users. You have to upgrade the firewalls, you have to again think for the vendors, you have to get a quote, and you have to do everything. So again, you have to expend money on that particular part. Now, in order to maintain those particular firewall as well, like upgrading, checking network availability, making them available all the time, also the high availability that if any one particular firewall goes down, your next firewall goes down, you need a specific team for that, or you need some time also to be devoted for that. Now when Zscaler comes into picture, Zscaler does not, sorry. So when Zscaler comes into picture, user do not have to worry about anything. So these are the firewalls. If I talk about in layman language, these are firewalls that is inside our ZIA cloud. They are called ZIA public service edges. They are installed in the cloud in a high availability manner wherever the user is connecting. So now you do not have to have heavy firewalls installed in your network. You can just have basic routing device which can route the traffic to internet. You do not have to think of having less policies, so all your traffic will be going and there should not be latency on the traffic when users are coming. The high, like the data plane of that particular firewall is not going high based due to the inspection or due to the traffic. So all these things will be taken care by Zscaler. They upgrades the OS of these particular edges. They check the availability of the edges. And let's say if user is increased from 500 to 1000, they will do auto scaling. So right now, if for 500, if two edges are required, or if two edges are required in high availability, for 100 users, it will again spin to automatically. For the organization, these operational tasks are now eliminated. So now they can focus more on creating the security architecture inside their organization. You do not have to care upgrading your firewalls. You do not have to care configuring high availability on your firewall. You do not have to check for your firewall models again and again as soon as there are new employees being onboarded or your organization onboarding another company or hiring, buying another company. All these things are done by Zscaler. Zscaler will be checking, or any new data center that needs to be also enabled, that will be worked by Zscaler. The users have to just purchase a subscription based on the user's model, and from there they can start using the ZIA public service edge. They can configure the policies and all these things. So there's a one big difference between your legacy firewalls that can be installed on your network than ZIA public service edges. Let me know if you have any questions. Now, why is ZIA? So it's basically a cloud-based security platform which offers comprehensive protection from web, from firewall, non-web traffic, and also from it protects your data, it protects any traffic going to your SaaS applications. Because nowadays, so if we discussed about initially what we used to happen in our network, we used to have data centers where all your internal applications were there. Initially, all users were using LDAP authentication when SAML was not in picture, or is what not as a authentication protocol. So what users used to do, whether they are used to use TechX, Radius, LDAP, anything. But those servers were their internal servers. They were inside of their data centers. So it was easy for the network administrators to provide access to these particular servers or provide access to these services. Now, when nowadays what we see, the companies are moving to the cloud-based architectures. Now, like instead of data centers, your applications are moving to cloud. So initially we used to do the offline version of Microsoft Office. Now we do not do it. We just simply log into Microsoft Access 365 and we access Office 365 from there. We access the drive, SharePoints, everything. So now the things are moving onto the cloud. For your legacy authentication servers as well, it's very difficult to enforce the authentication on third-party SaaS applications. Like you can control your application, but you cannot control your third-party SaaS applications. So Zscaler also allows access to those. So now the Zscaler also allows access to those SaaS applications as well. But before that, it authenticates your user based on the ITP that you will be configuring. So it also protects you from that. So whenever there is a shift in environment or shift in change of behavior of how the things were accessed before and how the things are accessed now. So legacy technologies are becoming obsolete or they are not up to the mark to protect you completely. So that's why it also, as I said, that it features SSL inspection, real-time threat prevention, web content filtering, and data filtering, sandboxing, multiple fault policies you can configure on a Zscaler dashboard. Coming to the deployment part, you do not have to deploy it. You do not have to configure your network to deploy it. So for users, it's nothing much they have to configure. They have to do the configuration on the Zscaler side and Zscaler will be onboarded for them. So it's not that you have to configure anything on your parameter firewall or you have to modify your existing network for Zscaler or you have to deploy the hardwares there, having downtime and anything like that. No, it eliminates the complete hardware need of anything like your any security solutions. So it's delivered by the cloud. Why it is crucial? Because it gives you comprehensive protection. So it protects you against all the cyber attacks that is there. Scalability, you do not have any hardware limitations. If you have purchased license for 100 users, your 100 users will be accessing the web without any limitations and based on if you configure all the policies as well on the Zscaler for that particular user, still you will not face much issues on that particular, or you will not face latency, unlike your legacy firewalls where they are limited to their hardware capabilities. Coming to the SSL inspection. When we talk about accessing internet or SaaS applications, SSL inspection is one of the more or the major important policies out there. Because 99% of the traffic is being encrypted by your TLS or SSL encrypted. until and unless the firewall can see what is going inside that encrypted traffic or encrypted transaction, it will not be able to do any block or to allow it. And that is one of the major challenge which currently legacy firewalls, because I have seen when the users enables the SSL inspection for the larger audience, it completely degrades the firewall performance whenever we are enabling. And that's why I have worked with many customers, I've worked with many customers as a consultant, and I have seen that mostly users are hesitant to enable this particular feature, which is a most important feature for your security. Mostly people think that URL filtering, we configure some blocks and we are done with the security. No, we are not configuring the SSL inspection out there. And when we tried, and some people, when they try to configure on their legacy architecture, I'm not saying about the high-end firewall series because they are a lot expensive. So if you they are like more than crores, you can buy an expensive firewall, a high-end series of the firewall, which is not feasible for everyone. And when they enable the SSL inspection on lower or mid-range firewall series, it degrades the performance as soon as the SSL inspection is enabled. So you do not have to worry about SSL inspection being inspected for everyone or for a single user. Zscaler will work in a same manner. Zscaler, like when Zscaler when you go to onboard Zscaler, or if you took professional services from the Zscaler, that's one of the most important point they highlight is SSL inspection. They encourages the users to use the SSL inspection for all the users, and that's one of the most important requirement that you have. Now, coming to the global reach. So as I said that our Zscaler edges are there on different data centers, or there are different data centers which are across all over the world. So you do not have to worry about deploying your firewalls whenever the users are there or on all your branch offices. It will be providing you the consistent security. So what security is there for users, what security is there for users in India? The same security will be for USA, or same security for any public service edge user connects. Same enforcement will be happening based on the policies that you have configured on ZIA. So it's not that, like, now, if you come to the legacy firewalls, there is one firewall in India, there is one firewall in US. So you have to configure those configuration again and again on both the firewalls to have it consistent. And maybe there might be possibility that these configuration might not be consistent. Some policies are not there, some policies are not there. So based on that, it's like inconsistent experience for the user. So let's say if Indian users or the users who is working attached with this firewall having one set of rules, if in future it connects to them, he will face some issues there because the rules are not catered for that particular users. Whereas in Zscaler, they are on cloud. So if you're connecting from India, you're connecting from US, the policies enforcement is happening from a single place. Now, coming to the ZIA architecture. Let me know if you have any questions or any queries till that part.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, yeah?
Yeah, in Zscaler, each and every traffic goes from the Zscaler data center, right?
Yes, there are
So,
Zscaler public service edges.
okay, so does it increase the latency?
No. So whenever
Okay.
the users connects, so let's say if I am connecting from India, whatever the nearest service edges will be there out there with me, I will be connecting to that, and my traffic will be exiting from there itself. So if I'm working from North India, I'll be connecting to the Delhi data centers. Of course, they are not like you cannot have data centers on each and every location inside, but the coverage is great. So the coverage is great, and based on the coverage, you will be connecting to the nearest edges. So the TLS timeout, there are a lot of parameters, internal parameters checked whenever you are connecting to any particular service edge. So latency, the users does not face much latency when they are connecting to ZIA. I hope that answers your question.
Yes.
Now coming to ZIA, as we said, so in zero trust network architecture, authentication is the key point. So ZIA integrates with your external identity provider. So nowadays we have a lot of like Entra ID, Okta, Ping ID, Google Apps, Jump Cloud. So all these identity providers proves your identity inside your organization using SAML protocol. I hope all of you are aware of the SAML protocol. So first component of the ZIA is authentication. Now, another one is, so we have authenticated the user. Now we know what particular user is coming. Now we have to forward the traffic of that particular user as well to our edges where it can get inspected. So for that, Zscaler client connector is used. So Zscaler client connector is a lightweight application that installs on your users endpoints, and it provides that the traffic needs to be forwarded, and it forwards all your traffic to our ZIA where it can get inspected. So we have authentication one as a part, then we have Zscaler client connector, which forwards your traffic. Now there is Zscaler. So we have Zscaler public service edges. These are the nodes or the endpoints, or you can think of. These are the secure web gateways in the cloud where all your traffic gets inspected whenever it's being forwarded to that. And then you have all your policies out there. Policies and control over the traffic. So how it goes? First, you authenticate the users, you prove the identity of that particular user. You use the Zscaler client connector. So from Zscaler client connector, the tunnel is being formed to Zscaler public service edges. And from there, once your traffic reach out to the Zscaler public service edges, it gets inspected based on the policies and the control enforcement that you have done on the Zscaler side. So if we say about examples, so let's say this is your user's machine. There will be like ZCC install, Zscaler client connector. This will be your ZIA public service edge. So ZCC will be connecting to this public service edge, making a TLS communication. So it uses DTLS or TLS tunnels in order to connect or to make a secure transaction to our Zscaler public service edges. Now there is a public internet from there. So user comes to ZCC, they connect to ZCC, tunnel is formed to their nearest public service edge. So if user B is also accessing, that does not necessarily means that they have to connect to this edge. If edge B is nearest to them, they will be connecting to that edge using ZCC. Now this is also integrated with your external IDP, identity provider. So your identity can be proved. And inside we have like central authority. So when you work on legacy firewalls, basically you have sent you have seen that there are two planes, management planes and the data plane. So management planes is the one from where all your negotiations or anything that is related to the management of the firewall, like any protocol negotiations, any configuration push or anything that is there, that is done by your management plane, which is firewall related traffic. Now, the data plane is the one from where your traffic goes out or from where your data traffic goes out. Like whenever you're accessing anything like Google, Facebook, or anything like your SaaS application. So similarly, ZIA public service edge, you can think of it as a data plane for Zscaler. And this central authority is your management plane. They communicate to each other, any configuration push, any certificate enrollments or anything like that, policies configuration push, like your any protocol negotiation or communicating with the identity provider is being done by the central authority. But we do not have to give much importance to it, because for us, the ZIA public service edge will be the one we will be working on. It works in the backend. So we do not have even though have control to see things, how the things are going in the backend, because when we deploy anything on the cloud, we do not get access to the CLI access for that particular thing. It's being solely with the company that is managing it. So we'll not be able to see what internal things are going in there, but we'll be focusing more on our ZIA public service edge and our ZIA portal. Let me know if you have any questions, any queries.
Hello, can you explain the traffic flow once again, briefly?
What particular process? You can just
How the VCC connecting to the internet, how it is actually happening?
to internal resources.
Yes, I mean, somebody try to connect to the internet, okay? So how the traffic will be traveling from the client to the OCS, content server?
Sure. Mostly that is a part of our ZPA discussion, which will be coming in future. But if I talk about in high level terms, so this is your ZCC. Same to the ZIA public edges, we have ZPA public service edges as well. And another component that is required a app connector. It's a lightweight VM that can be installed in your network. Now, let's say this is your internal network. These are your internal applications. So you can deploy this app connector on your environment. So traffic comes like that from Zscaler to the ZPA public service edges, and from app connector to the ZPA public service edges. Then the ZPA public service edge stitch this connection and it creates the micro tunnels to your application. So ZCC can reach out to app connectors. Now, once the the application users are access or traffic has been reached out to the app connector relays that information to your internal applications without exposing any network. I'll be explaining you in detail this particular part, because this is completely a separate product that is called Zscaler Private Access. So right now we are talking about ZIA, and ZIA is basically only being used for accessing or to provide protection to your web-based resource or like the resources on public network, or your access to your SaaS applications, which are on the cloud. If anything that is coming to your internal network, ZIA will not be able to inspect on that. ZIA will not be looking into that traffic. It will be completely being bypassed from the Zscaler. So there is two things, ZIA, that you have Zscaler internet access. Then you have ZPA, which is your Zscaler private access. Both have different architectures. Both uses different components in order to provide access. So in order to have complete, so you need to have both of them based on your requirements to have complete secure access to your network. So it uses one additional component that is called app connector to facilitate connectivity to your internal network. Do not worry, we will be talking about this in so basically once this ZPA will be started, we'll be focusing on that. Right now I'm not focusing because it will confuse you guys. There's a lot of things in the ZPA part which comes and which works together to make it a perfect zero trust network solution, unlike the VPNs. So we have to understand them as well in order to completely understand about the ZPA part. So right now, I do not want to completely confuse you. So we'll just stick to the ZIA part. So right now, we are only protecting the internet-based traffic or the SaaS-based traffic that is going outside to the internet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Deepak, can you tell once what comes under management plane and data plane?
Yes. For example, let's say you are doing any let's say we are doing SAML authentication. Correct. So in SAML authentication, like if there is a service provider initiated, your service provider is raising a request to your IDP for proving for proving identity of a particular user A. Okay. So for that, how it will be going? First, SAML request will be going for the authentication. IDP will ask for username and the password. So first, user will be sending SAML signing request. Now, the IDP will be asking for the username password. User will be providing the username password. And based on that, if the user is a valid user, every information is being checked, IDP will provide SAML assertion, saying that this particular user is a part of the organization and we prove that particular identity. Now, on the other hand, a user is trying to access Google, or you are just trying to do any search on Google. So what you are doing? You are initiating the traffic towards Google. So first TCP followed by HTTP, and then your requests are going and you are accessing whatever the accessing. Now, this particular traffic that you are accessing Google or anything like that, it's a data plane traffic because users are accessing this particular traffic. User are aware of, user initiated the access to that particular traffic. So this particular traffic is initiated from your machine. When you're opening your browser, you're just typing google.com. It's initiating from your machine. It is going to our ZIA edges. It's getting inspected and it's going there. So it is a data plane traffic. Whenever traffic is initiated from your user machine or you are trying to see or access anything. But in this case, this particular signing request is not initiated from the user. It's the backend process that is working. So for users, how it will be like, they will see a page of Zscaler client connector. They will have to enter username and the password. Just it. These process will be working internally. Like your SAML signing request, username, password request, then you will be providing and SAMLization will be coming. User are not aware of this particular traffic. This is your management plane traffic. If I take another example, have you configured any routing protocol on your network? So if you configure like OSPF or BGP, you say they work, before that they negotiate between the parties, like BGP do TCP handshake. Then there are 5 stages, and then it established the connectivity. After that, only it forwards the route and everything. So all these traffic which devices needs to communicate to each other or to configure something, that is a management plane traffic. Anything that is required, any traffic that is required to manage things. For example, your routing protocol information between each other, the SAML authentication that I showed you, like any certificate or the configuration pushing towards the edges. So all these are the management plane task, upgrading like that. Now coming to the data plane, anything, any end user data that is going through that particular device, it's called a data plane traffic. Whether you are accessing any particular website, you are accessing YouTube, you are accessing SaaS applications, anything on your network, whether you are accessing internal applications as well. So these are like your data plane traffic. Let me know if you have any more further questions on this, or if it is explains you.
Clear.
So any management traffic that is taken care by your central authority, and any traffic like that you are accessing or that end user is accessing, it can be anything. It's being basically protected by his ZIA public service edges. So this is a little bit brief architecture of the ZIA here. So as we discussed, there are no hardware limitations. We always decrypt hidden threats. Consistent security will be getting worldwide, and also facilitates the authentications. Also only allows the authenticated transactions through firewall.
So in internet access, all the security policies will be applied at the service edge level,
Yes.
the edge part, yes.
Yes. So for example, ZCC is just there for traffic forwarding. So if we understand about that, so first part is authentication. Let's understand in that manner. First part is authentication. So we are authenticating using identity provider. So ZIA is integrating with your identity provider and authenticating using SAML protocol. You can use other protocols as well, but majorly right now, what's a shift? It's being used SAML everywhere. Now,
Okay.
yeah, coming to the traffic forwarding, another point of part is traffic forwarding. So for traffic forwarding, Zscaler is required. It forwards your traffic to the Zscaler public service edges. Now, another thing is policy enforcement. So policy enforcement is done by your Zscaler client. Sorry, policy enforcement is done by your Zscaler public service edges. So when the traffic will be reaching out to these public service edges, it will be inspected before handing it over to the public network.
Okay, even whatever sites we are accessing in the internet, it will be authenticated, security policies will be applied, then it will be forwarding to the internet site. Once
Yes.
it is coming back, that also will be inspected, right?
Yes. So whenever, like, let's say this is a client's request, when server will be responding to it, it will again go through the same inspection before sending it to the client.
Okay.
Because that is
So we,
possibility that you try to access anything and now server is giving anything back with malicious thing. So if we do not inspect the return traffic, we can harm the users.
okay, for this solution, we can replace the content filtering proxies, all these kind of things, right?
Yes. So this can replace all your content filtering proxies, firewalls, next generation firewalls. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So Zscaler, so it acts as a security gateway in zero trust implementation. It identify like So identity-based risk security is there. So when we are trying to access anything, we already prove the identity of that particular user, and before anything, we validate all the users whenever they are trying to access anything. So coming to the conclusion of proxies or ZIA in just a high level. So it's basically proxies enhance security. It modernizes zero trust protections and also ensures Zscaler also ensures your comprehensive cloud-based defense. So you do not have to worry about infrastructure. You do not have to worry about it. Just buy the licenses and start using the particular product. So you now going through this particular Zscaler course, how it will be benefiting you. I can see that mostly some of you are working with Zscaler in your organization as well, so it will benefit you there as well. But if you talk about Gartner, so Gartner is one of the publications that publish the security quadrants, the Magic Quadrants report, and if you see the Magic Quadrant report of that, the Zscaler is a market leader currently in the SASE environment. So Zscaler is being a demand in India. So if you become well versed on this particular thing, you can have always much more professional opportunities out there, because right now, if you see, the organization are moving from the legacy architecture to zero trust network architecture. So it's a new big thing in the network security phase. So if you get familiarized with it, and if you get familiarized with one of the product which is implementing the zero trust network architecture, you will have a lot of opportunities. Like you can be like a cloud security engineer. You can be like you can become a SASE consultant, or you can become like network security engineers based on expertise on your zero trust network architecture. So it will help you very much in your future, that because these are the technologies that is coming right now. If you see about outside world like US, Europe, mostly organization are shifted towards the zero trust network architecture. In India, this trend is yet to come. Although we are seeing a major shift in India as well, which is converting to zero trust network architecture. Like TCS use Zscaler. There are big clients that use Zscaler in India as well. So yeah, you have a lot of opportunities once you will be having Zscaler as a skill added to your resumes.
Which one are the certifications for these killers?
So one
Recommended.
certification we have is from going, like if you want to go with the basics and starting one, first of all, I will request you to do Zscaler Digital Transformation Administrator. So it covers all the information, all the necessity that is required to get you started with the Zscaler, both ZIA and ZPA. So Zscaler Digital Transformation Administrator certificate, you can go through it. So you can go through the content, you can take the exam, and yeah, once that is done, you'll be having a great resume.
So after attending your course, okay, the course we are currently discussing, so what all certifications we can take?
Yeah, so after this, you can go with Zscaler Digital Transformation Administrator. So I will be covering more course, like the same course that is there in the Digital Transformation Administrators. So it has also it's a high level overview of Zscaler. It's a basic level of course in Zscaler. So it will get you started with Zscaler. It will get you familiarized with it. So once you will take this particular course, it will become very easy to get that particular certificate or take the exam of that particular certificate that I just told you right now. Now, right now, I'm just going a high level overview of ZIA features. We will be going into the details in our subsequent classes. So Internet security features like your cloud firewall, threat intelligence, your web filtering, data protection to your SaaS application, posture-based checking, all these things are being provided by Zscaler Internet Access. So anything like cloud firewall is capable of doing deep packet inspection. It can determine what particular applications are going.
Somebody called the man's phone and his ringtone was
Nitish, could you please mute yours?
Okay. I'm just thinking, okay. The basic certification is Zscaler Digital Transformers Administrator. After that, we have multiple certifications, right?
Yes, after that you will
Uh,
go into Zscaler Academy. So there is a Zscaler Academy from where you can learn about more certificates there. There are a lot of certificates they have. Also,
okay.
you can go into each peripheral as well, like if you want to have for data protection as well. So there is a specific thing for that. But the starting point, I will always recommend you to go with the administrator part. So if you give that particular certificate, you will be like ready for managing the Zscaler in the organizations.
Okay. After that, I could see Zero Trust Certified Associate. All these things is there, right?
Yes, there are.
So you will be giving insight on that one also in the class?
No, I'll be just moving out to the Zscaler Digital Transform Administrator. Like what are the solutions there on the ZIA and ZPA?
It will be practical classes or how do you?
Yes, I'll be doing the demonstration as well. So right now, like today, we all have an introduction class. Also, we are just going a brief overview of Zscaler, how it works in the backend, because we haven't started the configuration or we haven't started on any particular feature yet. So that's why there is no uh, deployment process or no configuration I have shown you. But once we are moving into the further classes, when we will be configuring the Zscaler, I will show you how it is being configured from scratch, how you can configure certain policies, what policies are there, how they are being inspected. So
Okay,
we are
fine.
working on that particular part in the next further class.
Okay, when how the students can do the practical things? Is there anything for that?
That you need to check from the network kings, because I do not have any way to provide you the access to the labs, because it's a confined lab in the cloud.
Okay,
Or we
okay.
have to check with you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Ritesh. So as I said that Zscaler have your cloud firewalls, your threat intelligence. So you have cloud firewalls, which consist of your firewall control, DNS control, FTP control, and IPS control. Then you have threat intelligence, which covers your malware protection, advanced threat protection, then we have web gateway, where we have SSL inspection, web. URL filtering, or cloud app filtering. Then we have basically SSL inspection, URL filtering, cloud app filtering. You have file type control. Then you have sandbox control. And then there is a data protection, where you have inline data protection, SaaS security data protection. So all these things. So there are a lot of features in this particular ZIA. we'll be discussing about. We'll be focusing about on the firewall control more. So we'll be focusing about your firewall control, secure web gateway, and malware protection. We'll be taking briefly about the data protection there because it is a separate thing that requires a lot of time. So coming to the cloud firewall. So basically it's a fully integrated firewall that provides protection against all web and non-web traffic. So any traffic that is passing through the Zscaler, first of all, it will be going through the firewall module to see whether that particular required network application or the port is being allowed or not. So it has the capabilities of enforcing granular policies based on user groups, departments, or based on network applications, based on network services, based on certain destination IP addresses. It can inspect all traffic, even SSL encrypted traffic as well, because firewall control happens on the port level basis or the application level basis. Now coming to the it also said like there is a centralized management. So whenever we do all the configuration related to the ZIA, we have a central portal for that, and we use that particular portal that's called ZIA admin portal. So we log into the ZIA admin portal, and it's also hosted on the cloud. So you do not have to have any VPN or anything, unlike your firewalls, to access their particular graphical user interface. You can just simply log in to ZIA admin portal from anywhere and authenticate to it. Even though you can enforce the policies to restrict that as well, but yeah. So you can have inspect all traffic, even SSL encrypted, and it's also a centralized management for simplified policy control as well. Coming to the threat intelligence, so it also leverages real-time threat intelligence. There are teams working in order to find out various threats out there, various CV out there, and they have the correlated engines being built on those particular insights. Also, AI is being also used and leveraged into this to block any malicious activity or any protected threats for the organization. Advanced threat protection, it has a multi-layer defense mechanism to provide sophisticated attacks. So it components sandboxing. So it analyzes any suspicious files in secure environment. So basically sandboxing is used to prevent you from 0 days attack. So if there are any attacks whose signatures are not there, or whose that particular threat is not yet discovered by anyone. So that protection is also being provided from your sandboxing protection. It also detects 0-day malware, anything on the basis of behavior, and all inline threat protection is done. So it's all the protection that is being you are getting. It's from the thread. You are getting it in real time. Coming to the secure web gateway. So it's mostly URL SSL inspection, URL filtering, data loss prevention. So it blocks the bad URLs that you do not want to allow your users to access. It blocks the bad cloud applications as well that you do not want to access. It blocks SSL inspection as well that you do not want to block access to. And like it also provides you the data loss prevention as well. So you can look for certain data points and certain data checks into your environment, and from there you can just go ahead. Okay. So final thing that's there. So conclusion on Zscaler Internet Security feature. So basically it offers a comprehensive suite of features that safeguard organization from evolving threats. So key takeaways are we have when we implement the Zscaler, we have enhanced threat visibility. We have simplified policy enforcement. So we do not have to configure to each location that we are. It's just on one place we have to configure it, and from there we can go further. And then we have cloud native design for modern enterprises. So the enterprises which are moved to the SaaS-based applications, they're all traffic is on the internet or on the public network. It provides you the protection for that particular traffic. So we have half an hour left or 25 minutes left here. So I'll just give you like 5 to 10 minutes break. Then we'll meet at 11:45. Then I will show you briefly about the Zscaler admin portal. Sure. Am I audible?
Yes, okay.
Yeah. So let's meet at
Um,
11:45, and then in last 15 minutes, I will give you a brief overview of Zscaler admin portal, like how ZIA admin portal looks like, what are the features and how you can access them.
Today's webinar, it is for 11 to 5.
It's basically from 10 to 12.
10 to 12, okay.
Yeah.
मेरे को तो कोई
Is everyone back? Okay. So this is how your admin URL or the admin dashboard looks like for the Zscaler. Those who have worked will be already familiarized with it. So these are your dashboards from where you can see the various activities like your web overview, like what particular cloud application your user are accessing, what are the top URL categories your user accessing, top connected users, top advanced threads, streaming media application, all that like that. You can also check for the security dashboard as well. So these are your dashboards based on various reporting or how you want to see it or want for the monitoring purposes. Now coming to the analytics part, basically analytics part from where you can generate your interactive reports. So there are tons of reports that you can select from. Apart from that, you can also create your own custom reports. So if you want to create any particular custom report, just have to go custom reports. Then you have all these reporting features if you want to see what data has been extracted or what data has been being forwarded from my organization or like that. Now there are this web insights we have. So these are the logs. So unlike your firewall, you'll see the logs like web insights, mobile insights, firewall insights, DNS insights. So any web traffic that is going through the Zscaler will be logged here. Any traffic that will be going through the firewall control, the cloud firewall module that we discussed will be going through here. And any traffic like DNS control you can see it from there. Then you have the policy section on the ZIA admin portal. So it's malware protection. So starting with the threat protection, you have malware protection, advanced threat protection, sandbox. Then coming to the web module, you have URL filtering, cloud app control, file type control policies, bandwidth control, SSL inspection policies. Coming to data loss prevention, you have data loss prevention policies. Then coming to the firewall module, you have firewall control, DNS control, FTP control, IPS control, all these particular policies out there. So you will not see all the features in all of the customers firewall, or basically it depends on the subscriptions as well, like what subscription the user has, and then only you'll be able to see certain features. And there are certain features that also needs to be provisioned by the support team of Zscaler. So for that you have to raise a ticket as well. These are the basic features. Then this is your administration, from where you can configure, you can see your company's profile, all these things from here. You can have configure advanced settings, then SaaS application tenants. If you want to onboard any SaaS application into that, you can configure the authentication. You can see what users are there, what groups are there onto the ZIA that can be used. Then you have administrator management, so you can control what particular user will be able to log into this. You can control over that. Then you have role management. You can define what particular role that you want to give. So we are just giving it a high level overview of this particular portal. We'll be talking about them. Then you have access controls, like if you want to create any custom URL categories like that, all these things like end user notification, all your cloud applications, you can look into that. Network services, if you want to configure any specific network service. Then you have network applications, IPFQD and scroll. So all these administrative tasks. Whenever like you make any changes to this particular portal, you have to activate the changes to the portal. So you just have to go to activate. From there, you can activate the portal. So these are from here, you can configure specific alerts if you want to be alerted if there is any security incident happening. Then yeah, from where you can just have multiple tools, so you can test the speed, URL lookup. If you are not sure that what particular URL, that particular what particular category that URL is belongs to, so then you can put it that particular URL, and you can be having categories. So Zscaler Analyzer, you want to analyze basically if you are protected from threat or not, all these things. So this is pretty much about your ZIA administrator dashboard. Now, another dashboard that we also have is Zscaler Client Connector dashboard. So it is the dashboard that you use to configure all the settings that is related to your Zscaler Client Connector application that gets installed in your network. So you have Client Connector App Store, from where you can just activate the releases and you can download the releases, basically for any platform like Windows, Mac OS, Linux. For mobile devices, it is available on respective mobile devices store like Play Store or iOS Store. Then you have you can also configure update settings for all your users. Then coming to this particular portal, major thing is that forwarding profile. It helps you to forward the traffic towards the Zscaler Client Connector. Then you have application profile. So it's a main profile that forwards all your settings to your Zscaler Client Connector. So you have all these things. Then apart from that, you have device posture profiles. So you can check for certain things in your user's machine. For example, you can check whether they are being installed with a firewall, the disk are encrypted, they are domain joined, they if there are any particular antivirus system is there or not. If not, then you can treat that device as a low trust device, and based on that you can block access to the certain resources. So all these things are there. This particular dashboard we'll be talking about like your client connector, then app profiles, then your Enroll devices. So once you will be connecting to the Zscaler client connector, your device information will be visible here. And this is a pretty much dashboard of this as well. So you want to see whether how many users are being I'm licensed to. So like, for example, I am licensed to 100 users there. And how many users like you can are connected here. So once there will be any user connected here, it will be showing here as a graph. You will be able to see device model from they are connecting, device OS from they are connecting, what particular version of Zscaler client connector they are connected with, and what's the device state, whether it's registered, not registered, or not logged into the Zscaler client connector. So that's pretty much for today's session. Let me know if you have any final questions.
Hello. There is one feature in Zscaler, browser isolation.
Yeah.
So, what is difference between the sandboxing and browser isolation? Both are same, right? Both prevent
No,
the
no, no, both are
manual threat.
different. Both are different.
Uh, how?
So sandboxing is a feature to detect the zero-day threat. So whenever any particular user are accessing anything, and if that file is not seen by Zscaler previously, or the threat signatures are not there, or any information is not there, what it will do, it will forward that traffic to a sandboxing server, which is in an isolated environment. Now, what sandboxing server will do, they will try to run the file, they will understand the behavior of the file, what it is doing, whether it's not doing any privilege escalation, or it's not doing any, or it's not performing any malicious content. So once that particular file is being emulated in a controlled environment, a verdict has been provided to the file, like whether that particular file is malicious, whether that particular file is benign, or that particular file is simple. If it is malicious, it will be blocked. Now, coming to the browser isolation, there are certain sites that you do not want your users to block, but also you are not fully sure that these sites are protected sites, or they cannot harm your machine. For example, there are any sites that are categorizing as newly observed domains, newly revived domains, uncategorized domains, or uncategorizable categories. So what browser isolation do? So if you are opening a particular URL, for example, let's say I configure browser isolation for facebook.com. So when you will be opening facebook.com, it will not be opened on your end machine. It will be opened on a controlled isolated browser in the Zscaler environment. And from there, you will be just getting a stream of pixels to your machine. So even if you want to access anything as well, it's not directly coming to your machine. It's being executed on the isolated environment. So let's say if you even click on a particular link as well on the browser isolation, like the website that is being protected by browser isolation. So if you click on any particular file that is being malicious, and it installs anything in the background, that will not be coming to your machine. That will be installing, or will be doing in the emulated or the controlled isolated browser there. But coming to the sandboxing, you are interacting with the file, but Zscaler is saying that this file, we do not know about the content of this particular file. We are not aware of much about this file. So let me just first analyze it. Then I will hand it over that particular file to you. Like you are directly accessing the resources in case of sandboxing, but in case of isolation, you are not directly accessing the resources. You are accessing the resource. You are just having the stream of pixels to your machine. But actual implement or actual running of that particular website is happening on the control isolated browser that is being installed, or that is deployed on the uh, uh, Zscaler environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, any question?
Hello,
Yes.
Deepak. Could you please share again the course timings and the duration?
Okay, so guys, this is going to be on weekend, like the same time what we started today. It's 10 a.m. in the morning. So 10 to 12, like a 2 hours on each Saturday and each Sunday. And even we have a class tomorrow also. So guys, we divided this course in a two part. Example, like there are some people who cannot afford, so they can go only for what I can say sessions, live session they can attend, where my like a Deepak is gonna perform each and everything on their labs or the portal for Zscaler. And if in case somebody needs a access from our side, then the first option, the cost we are charging very minimum, which is 10,000 rupees. And if in case somebody need a lab access from our side, then the cost is around 80,000 rupees, because Zscaler lab is very, very expensive. And one more thing, like the people who subscribe us on for all access pass, this content we are gonna add there, and this is going to be approximately 25 hours of live training.
So for every Saturday and Sunday, for how many months it would be?
25
Approximately.
hours, so you can consider at least bare minimum 1 month is going to be.
Okay.
Deepak, timing is 10 or 12?
12 to
12 to 2, guys, sorry. Today is just a demo session, and tomorrow we have a sessions for 10 or 12. Deepak, can you
tomorrow we have a session at 10, that's fine. But
10, yeah. So
from
tomorrow, same time.
Actually, I have joined for that webinar only. So, so I will be accessible for like today and tomorrow, right?
Yeah, if you're already enrolled, then yeah, today, tomorrow is free. The people who enrolled for a first initial like a today and tomorrow class, and later on you guys can continue for the full course, which is 10,000 rupees.
Okay, okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
When will be the next batch started? Not this batch. Okay,
Guys, I
I'm
cannot
enrolled
commit
for.
anything like getting availability for the labs for Zscaler. It's very difficult.
Mhm.
And even I suggest you, if you cannot attend live sessions, go ahead and enroll for our all access pass, where we are guys are giving almost more than 40 plus courses, live courses videos. And this course is going to be a part of our all access pass. I
Okay, how
cannot
much for
confirm the
that?
next
How
batch.
much for that?
All access pass is going to be approximately 40,000, 45. I'm not sure about the costing, guys. But
Okay, okay.
that's
Because
includes all three domains: network, cloud, cyber security, DevOps, all even CCNP data center. Uh, there are a lot of content for that. Wireless is there, DevNet is there.
okay, okay, I will talk later actually. Because
Hmm.
tomorrow I couldn't join. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
traveling. So
Mhm.
this month later I have some other classes also. Thank you so much. Class was very good. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Deepak.
thank you everyone. Thank you for joining the class. Have a nice day to you all.
Thank you.
Any evening batch available? This one?
No, guys. This is like a tomorrow, same time 10. Then from next weekend, it's 12 afternoon, Saturday, Sunday.
Because it is clashing with my other batch in this networking.
Let's see. Like, I don't think so. 12, we have any other batches. In which batch you enrolled as of now?
I'm into the data center. It is ends
Data
at
center
12.
is 10:30 to 12. So you can go ahead and take the data center classes. 10:30 a.m. is the timing for that. This is for 12.
Okay, that is ends I think 12:30. 30 ends.
Let's see. We'll
Okay.
see like how to do it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.